Hey Reddit, throwaway account for obvious reasons. I never thought I'd be one of those people writing about a cheating spouse, but here I am. This is going to be a long one, and honestly, I need to get it off my chest. Maybe someone out there has been through something similar. Maybe this will help me process it. Maybe it'll help someone else avoid what I went through. So, a little background. My wife, let's call her Lena, and I have been married for 6 years. No kids, thank God. But we had what I thought was a solid marriage. We both work full time jobs, have a cozy little home, a cat named Milo, and what used to be a pretty routine life. We had our ups and downs, like every couple, but nothing that ever felt insurmountable, or so I thought. Lena started a new job about 10 months ago at a mid sized marketing firm. She was thrilled, said it was a great opportunity, and I was genuinely happy for her. I supported her 100%. She had always been ambitious, always wanted to climb the corporate ladder. I admired that about her. Then came the late nights. At first, it seemed normal. She'd come home around 7 or 8 talking about tight deadlines and last minute campaign changes. I bought it. Why wouldn't I? She was building a career and I was proud. I'd even have dinner waiting sometimes. She'd eat half heartedly, distracted, and then collapse into bed. But slowly, things started to shift. She started taking her phone everywhere, like everywhere, even into the bathroom. She'd tilt it away from me while texting, and when I asked who she was talking to, it was always work stuff or Susan from HR or a client being annoying. The excuses rolled off her tongue like she'd rehearsed them. We stopped having sex. She blamed it on stress, headaches, long days. I gave her space, maybe too much space in hindsight. I tried to brush it off for months. I didn't want to be that husband, paranoid, controlling, insecure. So I pushed the doubts away. I told myself I was just imagining things, that Lena would never cheat, that she loved me. God, I was such an idiot. So, like I said in part one, I tried to ignore the signs. I wanted to believe that Lena was just stressed, that maybe we were just in a slump. But deep down, my gut was telling me something was off. It all started unraveling one Friday night. She told me she had to stay late for a strategy session with her boss, Mark. I'd heard his name before. Middle aged guy, recently divorced, supposedly a great mentor to her. I didn't think much of it at first, but something about the way she said his name this time, I don't know. It hit different, colder, like she was trying too hard to sound casual. She left the house around 6:15, dressed a little too nicely for working late. Tight skirt, heels, fresh makeup, red lipstick. I remember staring at her in the hallway thinking, why would you wear that to stare at spreadsheets? But I kept my mouth shut. Around 8:30 that night, I was feeding our cat Milo and knocked over Lena's laundry basket. Her work bag spilled open, her iPad slipped out and lit up, and then, boom, a notification. Looking forward to last night's encore. I froze. My whole body went cold. I opened the messages. Yes, I know, privacy, blah, 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 but come on, I had to. What I found was weeks, months of flirtatious messages, late night plans, in jokes, nudes, and one voice memo that literally made me sit on the floor. It was him moaning her name, saying how she tastes better than his ex wife ever did. I nearly threw up. That night broke something inside me. I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I screenshotted everything, backed up the iPad, sent it all to my email. I didn't even cry. I was just numb. She came home around 11:40. Smelled like cologne that wasn't mine, hair messy, lipstick smudged. And when I asked her how strategy night went, she smiled, kissed me on the cheek, and said, exhausting, but worth it. I stared at her, pretending I didn't already know everything, pretending I didn't just watch my entire marriage die in a cloud of lies. So, yeah, after I saw the messages, the voice memo, and the disgusting flirtations between Lena and her boss, I knew I couldn't just let it slide. But I didn't explode right away. I wanted her to show me who she really was first. I wanted to see if she'd admit to anything. Spoiler, she didn't. The next day, I tried to act normal. I watched her lie to my face again over breakfast. She told me she was going into the office for a quick meeting and she'd bring back coffee. I asked, meeting with who? She paused. Mark, she said, barely making eye contact. Bingo. That afternoon, I called her. She didn't pick up, sent me a text. Busy in a meeting, talk later. Except she wasn't at the office. Thanks to Find My iPhone, which she forgot I still had access to, I knew exactly where she was, a downtown hotel. When she walked through the front door that night, I was sitting on the couch with her iPad, my laptop, and a folder full of screenshots. I didn't even say anything at first, just looked at her. Her, why are you staring at me like that? Me, how was the hotel? The color drained from her face. She blinked a few times, then tried to act confused. Hotel? What are you talking about? I slid the iPad toward her. Messages, pics, location history, everything. Then came the meltdown. Not guilt, not remorse. Oh no. Defensiveness. You went through my stuff. How dare you? That's a violation of my privacy. I just stared. She went on a full hysterical rant. You're crazy. You're paranoid. Nothing happened. It was just drinks. I didn't sleep with him. You're overreacting. That's when I played the voice memo, the one where Mark was groaning her name and saying she was loud last night. Silence. Then she snapped. You shouldn't have gone through my things. If you trusted me, you wouldn't need to spy. Maybe if you were more of a man, I wouldn't have needed to look elsewhere. That line hit me like a truck. No apology, no shame, just venom. She stormed out of the house after throwing a mug at the wall. It shattered, fitting. I sat in the mess she made, surrounded by lies and broken pieces, literal and emotional, and knew something inside me had finally, truly snapped. After Lena stormed out, I just sat there, staring at the shattered mug on the floor. I could still hear her words echoing in my head. Maybe if you were more of a man. It felt like someone had ripped my chest open and poured acid inside. I didn't cry, not at first. I was too numb, too dazed. I just sat there watching Milo the cat sniff at the broken ceramic, completely unaware that his human's world had just collapsed. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept replaying every conversation, every kiss, every I love you. Was it all fake? How long had she been lying to my face while crawling into his bed? The worst part, I still loved her. That made me hate myself even more. Around 3 a.m., I started cleaning up the glass. Symbolic, I guess, trying to make sense of the wreckage. She didn't come home that night. No text, no call, not even a fake excuse. The next morning, she walked in around 8 a.m. like nothing happened. Hair in a bun, wearing a hoodie that wasn't mine. I could smell cheap cologne clinging to her skin. She looked at me, rolled her eyes, and said, "Oh, don't give me the silent treatment. Grow up." No apology, no remorse. She sat at the table, scrolled through her phone, and actually laughed at something she saw. That's when it hit me. This wasn't some tearful mistake or temporary breakdown. This was a person who didn't give a damn about what she'd done, and somehow she had convinced herself she was the victim in all of this. My emotions flipped like a switch. Grief turned to rage, rage turned to clarity. This wasn't just a betrayal, it was a full blown psychological war zone, and she was playing dirty. I told her I needed space. She said fine and walked out again. I called in sick to work, couldn't focus on anything. I just kept scrolling through the screenshots, rereading every dirty text and emoji laced message, every smug little heart she sent him, every my husband's so boring line. I started wondering, how long had I been living a lie? When did I stop being her partner and start being her backup plan? I didn't know what I was going to do next, but I knew one thing for sure. I was done being the fool. After days of silence, screaming matches, and being gaslit like I was the villain in her story, I hit a breaking point. I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping. I was spiraling. My friends noticed. My coworkers noticed. Even my manager pulled me aside and asked if everything was okay. I lied, said I had the flu, but inside I was dying a slow, humiliating emotional death. Then came the kicker. One night, Lena got home late, again. I didn't say a word. She tossed her purse on the couch and went straight to the shower. While she was in there, her phone buzzed on the table. Another message from Mark. Can't stop thinking about you. Let's take a weekend off, just us. That was it. I stood up, walked to my office, opened my laptop, logged into my bank account, then into a legal help site I had bookmarked weeks ago but hadn't touched until now. I filled out the online questionnaire for a divorce attorney, sent in my documents. I was done. Done playing the understanding husband. Done letting her walk all over me while she got her little ego trip from screwing her boss behind my back. I didn't tell her right away. I wanted to be smart, strategic. I copied all the texts, messages, voice memos, everything to a hard drive. I took pictures of her coming home drunk, of her wearing other people's clothes, of the days she claimed to be working late while the GPS on her phone showed otherwise. I called a lawyer the next day, booked a consultation. Meanwhile, she started acting like nothing happened. She even tried to initiate sex one night. I couldn't believe the audacity. I told her I wasn't in the mood, and she rolled her eyes and muttered, "Figures. You never are." Classic projection. She didn't know it yet, but the script was flipping. I had a plan. I was going to hit her with the papers when she least expected it. No more begging, no more tears, no more trying to fix something she had already destroyed. I was going to end this marriage and walk away with my head held high. After locking in the divorce attorney, I went quiet, cold, controlled. No more emotional outbursts, no yelling, no accusations. I became boring, invisible, predictable. And that's exactly what I wanted, because the more I pulled back, the more comfortable Lena got. She thought she'd won. She started acting like she had full control of the house, the relationship, hell, even my mood. She went out more often, started dressing up again. I overheard her telling her friend on the phone, "He's finally stopped being annoying. I think he's accepted it." No, sweetheart, I hadn't accepted anything. I was watching, documenting, preparing. I bought a cheap voice recorder online, hid it under the passenger seat of her car, set it to activate on noise. The next day, she said she was going to get groceries, was gone for 3 hours, came back with 2 bags. I checked the recorder later that night. Guess what I heard? Not a grocery run, a rendezvous with Mark in his car, right there in a parking lot, giggling like teenagers, making plans to go away for a weekend in Miami. Once I'm done with the paperwork, I'll be free. He's so checked out now, it'll be easy, she said. Done with the paperwork? She was planning to divorce me? I almost laughed. She was planning to screw me over while still pretending to be the one who got hurt. Except I was 3 steps ahead. The next day, I opened a new bank account, transferred 50% of our joint savings, completely legal in our state, changed all my passwords, removed her as my emergency contact, and just for fun, I called our mutual friend Claire and hinted at what was going on. Claire was loyal to me. She'd known Lena was shady for a while, and this just confirmed it. Lena had no idea the walls were closing in. She even started getting smug. One morning, I found her humming in the kitchen while making coffee. I asked, "What's got you in a good mood?" She winked. "Just feels like things are finally going my way." They weren't. It happened on a Thursday. Bright morning, birds chirping, one of those disgustingly peaceful days when the universe decides to add insult to injury. Lena was in the kitchen, sipping her oat milk latte and scrolling on her phone, probably texting Mark. Um, I didn't care. I was calm, laser focused. I had already spoken to my lawyer the day before. Everything was in place. The documents were ready. And today she was going to get served, but not by some random guy at the door. No, that would have been too impersonal. I wanted to see her face. So I walked into the kitchen with a small manila envelope in my hand, set it down gently on the table beside her phone. She looked at it, then at me. "What's this?" she asked, still chewing on her protein bar like she hadn't spent the last 6 months stabbing me in the back. I smiled. "Divorce papers. Read them when you're done texting your boyfriend." Silence. For the first time in weeks, she didn't have a comeback. No fake tears, no "you're misunderstanding" act. She looked like someone had just slapped her with a shovel. Then the shrieking began. "Are you insane? You're really doing this to me? After everything I've put into this marriage?" She actually said that. Like she was the victim here. Like I was abandoning her. "You want to destroy our family over some meaningless fun? That's emotional abuse." That's when I realized something chilling. She actually believed her own lies. I didn't argue. I didn't scream. I just said, "I know about Mark. I've seen the texts, heard the recordings, got the photos. This isn't a discussion, Lena. It's a notice." Then I walked out, calm, in control, finally free. Behind me, I could hear her knock over a chair, screaming something about how I'd regret this and that I'd never find someone like her again. Honestly, I hoped that was true, because the last thing I'd ever want is someone like her again. After she got the papers, Lena didn't take it quietly, not even close. The very next day, she called me 32 times before noon. 32. I didn't answer a single one. My voicemail filled up fast. "You're making a huge mistake. We can fix this. I'll go to therapy. You've lost your mind. You're being manipulated by your friends. You'll regret this. I'll make sure everyone knows what you really are. You're destroying our lives over nothing." The hypocrisy was Olympic level. Then came the texts, hundreds of them. Most were love bombing, all, I miss you, let's talk, we can start fresh. But when those didn't work, the tone flipped fast. Threats, manipulation, even fake crying selfies. One message read, if you leave me, I swear I'll make sure no one else wants you. Another, you think you'll get away with taking half the money? You've done nothing. I earned that. Sheesh earned it? The woman who hadn't paid a single bill in 2 years? Who blew money on self care retreats and emotional coaching while I covered the mortgage? I ignored it all. Then she tried going nuclear. She called my mother, claimed I had been emotionally distant, that I pushed her into the arms of another man, said she was devastated and wanted to save the marriage. My mom's response? Good. I've been praying he'd wake up and leave your sorry ass. Lena didn't see that coming. She thought she had my mom wrapped around her finger. That's when she began her public campaign. She went on Facebook, made a long, dramatic post about being blindsided by betrayal, said I was cold, abusive, and controlling, and that I had emotionally cheated on her for years by shutting her out. She left out the part where she was banging her boss in his office after hours. But the post, it backfired. People remembered. They remembered the time she humiliated me at parties, flirted with guys in front of me, made me sleep on the couch to punish me. Friends I hadn't spoken to in months messaged me saying they were glad I finally escaped. She deleted the post 2 days later. No apology, no explanation, just silence. But silence from Lena? That's never a good sign. I knew she was planning something. I should have known Lena wouldn't just melt away. No, that would have been too easy. A narcissist like her doesn't just lose quietly, she has to turn it into a full-blown war. About a week after she got served, things went next level. It started small, weird, but almost subtle. I got pulled over on the way to work. Officer said I had a tip that I was driving under the influence. I was stone cold sober, blew a 0.00 on the spot. The cop was polite, even apologized. But I knew it wasn't random. 2 days later, my HR department called me in. Apparently, someone had emailed them claiming I was engaging in inappropriate behavior at work. The email was anonymous and full of lies. Luckily, my boss knew me well enough to laugh it off. But still, now I had to explain the situation. It didn't take long to trace everything back to Lena. She was trying to build a case. Flip the narrative. If she couldn't win emotionally, she was going to play dirty, smear my name, make it look like I was the unstable one. But she wasn't finished. A few nights later, around 11:30 p.m., I heard a knock at the door. 2 officers. Someone called in a domestic disturbance, claimed they heard a man yelling threats. I was in bed watching Netflix with headphones on. I showed them the footage from my Ring camera. Nothing. No yelling, no sounds, no one coming or going, just me in a hoodie eating cereal at the kitchen table an hour earlier. They looked annoyed, apologized again, and left. She was trying to get a police report filed on me. I sent all the incidents, police visit, work complaint, traffic stop, to my lawyer. He wasn't surprised. Seen it before, he said. She's trying to get leverage for the divorce proceedings. If she can make you look violent or unstable, she could push for a better financial settlement or even a restraining order. A restraining order. Against me. The man who had done nothing but keep quiet and survive her storm. I installed security cameras inside the house, bought a dash cam, changed all my passwords again, and I kept a journal. Detailed every interaction, every call, every visit, every time I saw her or heard from her. My lawyer said it might save me later. Then came the bombshell. She tried to get back into the house, claimed she forgot some things. I refused, told her I'd mail anything she needed. She screamed through the door, telling me she'd call the cops and say I'd stolen her stuff. I had the camera running the whole time. You think this little divorce is going to stop me? She hissed before finally leaving. You're going to lose everything, you idiot. You'll wish you never met me. For once, I actually agreed with her. I didn't have to lift a finger. Karma did it for me. A couple of weeks after she tried to barge into the house, I got a call from an unfamiliar number. At first, I ignored it. Then it rang again. Same number. I finally picked up. It was Mark's wife. Apparently, she had finally seen the text, the late working late lies, the selfies Lena sent from the office bathroom, and even the video Lena had sent Mark of the two of them in his car. She was done. She kicked him out that same night and said she was coming for everything. We ended up talking for over an hour. She was surprisingly calm, even apologetic, said she'd had a feeling something was going on but hadn't known for sure until now. She thanked me for not going public. I told her it wasn't about revenge, it was about freedom. But I wasn't done hearing surprises. 3 days later, Mark got demoted. Apparently, HR found out about the affair. It was against company policy, especially since Lena reported directly to him. She was his subordinate. Guess what that means? Workplace misconduct, abuse of power. HR launched an internal investigation. Mark was stripped of his team and Rhea to a side role with no management responsibilities. Lena, suspended indefinitely. Guess working late finally caught up to them. She tried calling me again after that, said she was in a dark place and needed someone to talk to. I didn't answer. She texted me, "You've always been the one who truly understood me. Mark never really cared. I made a mistake. No apology, no ownership, just more of the same twisted victim act." Then she tried playing nice with my friends, messaging people she hadn't spoken to in years, trying to explain her side, painting herself as a woman who had been pushed into bad decisions. Most of them blocked her. A few sent me screenshots. Her narrative was crumbling. Her affair was public. Her job was gone. Her lover was out of the picture. And worst of all, I didn't care anymore. I was no longer the hurt, betrayed husband. I was a man building his escape. And she could feel it. That's when the really desperate moves began. If you thought Lena couldn't get more manipulative, buckle up. About a week after her job suspension, she went quiet. No calls, no texts, no drive-bys. I'll admit I was suspicious. Lena doesn't do silence, she plots in it. Then one evening, just as I was locking up for the night, my phone lit up. A text from her. "We need to talk. It's important. I'm pregnant." At first, I just stared at it. Honestly, my stomach sank, not from fear, but from disbelief. I hadn't touched her in over 6 months. She knew it. I knew it. So I replied with the only thing that made sense, "Not mine." She responded immediately, "I made a mistake, but this changes everything. I need your support. Please, let's not make things worse." Worse? I didn't answer. Instead, I forwarded the message to my lawyer. His reply was swift. "Classic manipulation. She'll try to use it in court. Don't engage. We'll request a paternity test if she insists." And sure enough, she did. 2 days later, she emailed my lawyer, not me, saying she was willing to work things out privately if I dropped the divorce and helped her through this difficult time. In plain terms, she wanted me to stop the divorce and financially support her in exchange for some twisted fantasy of reconciliation and fake fatherhood. Blackmail by baby. Except she had one problem: math. She hadn't been intimate with me in half a year, but she had been very close with Mark. My lawyer filed a motion that same day demanding a paternity test if her pregnancy claim ever became part of her legal strategy. Lena didn't respond. Instead, she tried going nuclear again, this time by calling my workplace anonymously and accusing me of harassment and emotional abuse. She claimed I was endangering an unborn child. Except, again, it backfired. We had the call traced. I didn't even have to defend myself. My boss, same guy who dismissed her first stunt, flagged the pattern immediately and called it transparent sabotage. So now she was exposed at home, at work, in court, and in her own lie. And then she changed the game again. She sent me an email. One line, no greeting, no punctuation. "If you don't help me, it'll tell everyone you hit me." Boom. False abuse allegation. A line I never thought she'd cross. But I was ready. Every conversation, every interaction, every attempt she'd made to set me up, I had it recorded, logged, saved, timestamped, and filed through my lawyer. We drafted a legal response in under 12 hours. One more false claim and we'd file for defamation. With evidence. The silence after that was deafening. Court day. It felt like everything, the lies, the manipulation, the heartbreak, the humiliation, was leading to this. I hadn't slept the night before, not because I was nervous, but because I couldn't wait to finally end this nightmare. Lena showed up in full performance mode. Dramatic black dress, oversized sunglasses inside, tissues in her hand before anyone had even said a word. Her lawyer looked exhausted, like even he had grown tired of her antics. My lawyer had everything: call logs, texts, emails, the footage of her threatening me at my door, her fake pregnancy claim, Debunked by a doctor's note we subpoenaed after she ghosted the paternity test request, the HR reports from her suspension, police body cam footage showing she'd fabricated the domestic call. It was like watching a carefully stacked house of cards collapse in slow motion. She tried one last stunt, claiming I was emotionally abusive and that the stress of the divorce caused her to lose the baby. Only, she'd never actually been pregnant. The judge asked for proof. She had none. My lawyer slid the clinic's letter across the table. The judge read it, then looked at Lena and asked, "Do you understand the seriousness of perjury?" She stammered, cried, blamed the emotional turmoil. The judge wasn't having it. He ruled in my favor on every count. Divorce finalized. No alimony, no financial support. She was ordered to pay a portion of my legal fees due to malicious intent and bad faith actions. And just like that, it was over. As she left the courtroom, she tried one last time to catch my eye. Her expression was a mix of rage, disbelief, and loss. I didn't look back. I stepped outside, took the deepest breath I'd taken in over a year, and finally felt the weight lift off my chest. It was surreal. I wasn't just free from her. I was free from all of it. The lies, the paranoia, the self-doubt, the gaslighting, the quiet loneliness of being in a marriage with someone who only loved themselves. The first morning after the court hearing was the quietest my house had ever been. No tension in the air, no fake smiles, no late-night phone checks, just silence. Peaceful, beautiful silence. I made coffee, sat by the window, and for the first time in over a year, I didn't feel like I was bracing for impact. Freedom is strange at first. You think you'll feel instantly happy, but what you really feel is unclenched, like your brain finally stopped screaming in the background. Over the next few weeks, I started putting my life back together. I cleaned the house top to bottom, threw out everything that reminded me of her, every framed photo, every old hoodie she left behind, even the ugly mug she loved. I finally fixed the leaky faucet she always complained about but never let me touch. Felt symbolic, somehow. I reconnected with friends I had unintentionally pushed away during the marriage, people who noticed things long before I did. The support was overwhelming. Guys I hadn't spoken to in months showed up with beers and pizza, ready to help me reclaim the bachelor den. Even my older sister, who always had a sixth sense about Lena, came over with brownies and a bottle of whiskey. She said, "I'm proud of you. You didn't lose yourself in the storm." And honestly, she was right. I came out of this stronger, smarter, more me than I'd been in years. I also started therapy, not because I was broken, but because I wanted to understand how I let it get that far, how I ignored red flags, how I lost trust in my own instincts. Best decision I ever made. My therapist told me something that stuck. You don't heal by pretending it didn't happen. You heal by realizing it changed you, and then choosing what kind of person you'll become next. So I chose to rebuild, to reconnect, to rediscover my worth. And for the first time in forever, I started to think maybe love wasn't dead. About 2 months after the divorce was finalized, something unexpected happened. I got a message. Not from Lena, thank God, but from someone I hadn't spoken to in years. Emily. Emily and I had gone to college together. We were friends for a while, maybe a little more than friends once, but timing was never on our side. She moved out of state. I started dating Lena and we drifted apart the way people do. Her message was simple. "Hey, I saw what you went through. I just wanted to say I'm sorry you had to deal with all that. You didn't deserve it." I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because her reaching out hit something deep. We started talking again, slowly, casually, just catching up at first. It felt easy, natural, real. No manipulation, no games, no walking on eggshells. Emily had been through a rough breakup too, a fiance who cheated on her a year before their wedding. So there was this mutual understanding between us. We weren't trying to fix each other. We were just two people who knew what heartbreak looked like and weren't afraid to talk about it. After a few weeks of texting, I asked her to meet for coffee. She said yes. The moment I saw her walk in, denim jacket, nervous smile, eyes that hadn't changed a bit, something inside me relaxed. Not excitement, not anxiety, just peace. We talked for hours. It wasn't a date, technically, but it felt like the beginning of something. Something healthier, something grounded. By the end of the evening, she said, You seem lighter, like you finally put something down you were carrying for a long time. She was right. Lena had been a weight. Emily, she felt like air. We've been seeing each other regularly since then. No rushing, no labels, just two people choosing each other without pressure. And for now, that's enough. Life doesn't hand you perfect closure. It doesn't promise revenge or poetic justice. But sometimes, just sometimes, it gives you a second chance. And I'm learning to take it. It's been 4 months since the final court date. The divorce was finalized. She got some furniture, her car, and a small settlement. I kept the house, thankfully. The silence in it used to feel unbearable. Now it's peace. It's mine. She tried texting me a few times after everything, random messages like, "Are you really okay with how this ended?" Or, "You didn't have to be so cruel." Cruel? She burned our marriage to the ground, and I'm the cruel one? She's with her boss now, or was last I heard. Apparently, he dumped her after his wife exposed them and took half of everything. I guess karma doesn't wear a watch, but it always shows up. I went to therapy. I started working out. I reconnected with old friends I lost touch with during my married and always trying to please era. And most importantly, I forgave myself. Not her, never her, but me. For not seeing it sooner, for doubting my gut, for loving someone who didn't deserve it. I'm sharing this final update because I've had a few of you DM me to ask, would you ever take her back if she begged? Let me make this clear. No. She shattered something that can't be put back together. Not because I'm bitter, but because I finally understand my worth, and she never did. To anyone reading this who's being lied to, gaslighted, manipulated, you're not crazy. Trust your gut. You don't need undeniable proof to walk away from disrespect. Sometimes peace isn't found in fixing what broke, it's in finally letting go. Thanks for sticking through all 15 parts. This chapter of my life is over, and a better one has already begun. To the 100 plus people who messaged me their own stories, I see you. I hear you. You deserve better too.